What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the trades we end up taking today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So today was actually a pretty good day. So if we look here on the 30-minute here, this pretty much tells us the trend in the market. And you guys know yesterday we ended up crossing down here on the calls. This is the 695 calls for Friday, and this chart went negative, which means this 10 SMA crosses below the 50, which is the blue. 10 is the green, 50 is the blue. We end up crossing down here, and that pretty much tells us we're in a neutral market and there's no trend. So obviously I know we dropped a lot today, but there was still no true trend developed here. If we flip to the puts, we actually did end up crossing in the afternoon, but like in the beginning of the day there wasn't any trend built yet. Right at 11, close above the 50. Eventually this ended up crossing here right around like 12:30, and yeah, we saw continuation move down, market flip bearish today, and we came up into these pretty key spots here on the higher time frames. We got the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 50 as well. So pretty massive spots we end up dumping into today. It will be interesting to see kind of how CPI goes tomorrow, but there was a trade setup you could have taken, and it was a simple 0DT cross on puts right here on the 5-minute. So we end up getting this cross here on the 5-minute. If my chart doesn't mess up, we end up crossing right here. 10 SMA crossing with the 50. This was a nice setup you could have taken. Entry probably was at, I know this candle, I remember I was watching this while it was happening. This candle was like right around $3. Could have taken an entry on this candle open here at 10.50, and that obviously netted in a massive move. I didn't take this because I was already in Palantir shorts, so I just sat out of this cross because I was already short on something. But this definitely was a trade I would have taken if I wasn't in Palantir. And look at the move you get. You could always hold this until we lose the 10 SMA, or trail your runners at least until we lose the 10, and you would have lost the 10 right here at like 12.20. So that's where you would have sold the remaining portion you had. But I mean, by this move, I mean that's probably well over like 200 points on NQ if you did end up taking that. But that's pretty much like the trade you could have taken today when it came to the option charts. I did try a long off the fib levels, and reasoning was pretty simple. So again, we ended up pulling up, or like not pulling up, but we ended up hitting some massive spots here on the puts. We had the 1 hour 50. We pretty much have all these higher time frame 50s that I just showed you guys here. 1 hour, 2 hour, and the 4 hour. 4 hour we didn't quite hit yet, but I mean we were still hitting those massive areas on the 1 hour, 2 hour, and I was looking for a bounce. So we ended up playing this one fib level right up in here, this 68.80 fib, and it did give like an initial bounce. But you guys know on these fib levels, you're looking for at least 20-25 points on these. So I didn't end up TPing at all. I mean, this pumped like 16 points, but again, that's not enough for me to like take trims yet. I was looking for 25 up to this like 50% mark. This is like the only way I use the 50% is for TPs on trades. Like if we came up to that 69.05, I would have trimmed half, stop loss break even, and then look for this other fib up in here at 69.30. But that just didn't end up happening. And another reason kind of why this didn't end up playing out was because we did end up flipping bearish on the 30-minute. In that, like, as soon as I saw the chart flip bearish on the 30-minute, I ended up cutting this. So I'm going to pull this chart up actually, because you could see I ended up screenshotting this. This is what I went over in the Discord on why I ended up just selling this right at 12. So right at 12 was like on this candle. I think I closed this for like 3 points, 3-point loss. So I mean, TPs at 20. Stopped out for 3 points. I mean, it's a really good risk to reward. Actually, 25 points would have been my trim, but yeah, like I said, we got initial balance of like 16 points. I did initially go break even, but then once we pulled back, I'm like, okay, it's probably best for me to wait for a 5-minute closure below at least. So I ended up changing my stop on this to a closure below on the 5-minute. It did eventually end up closing below, but I just cut it early because of this chart right here. So right at 12 o'clock. We did start to cross here on the 30-minute, so I'm like, okay, it doesn't look the best, so I just ended up cutting it for 3 points, and then you would have been stopped out anyways. So that was a good move on my part to just get out of that, just because 30-minute was crossing still, even though we did hit like the 1 hour, 2 hour. Just based on that 30-minute just crossing, there's a chance it still goes lower. So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get out of it. It's not the best setup in the world. So yeah, end up taking a 3-point loss on that, and then I'm gonna go over a trade on Palantir in a second. But again, this fib level was a good one to take, even though it didn't end up working out. You know, if you took a loss on that, it's whatever. I mean, you would have stopped out for what, 10 points on it, 10-point stop I initially had, and then I flipped to a 5-minute closure below, and then once the 30-minute ended up crossing, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get out. It doesn't look the best. So yeah, that's pretty much how the day went. You could have played the put cross to ride this move down, and today was actually a day where we broke the range. So I told you guys yesterday I really wanted to see a break of the range we were in, and I'm not sure if I have a screenshot of that, but yesterday we were in between two fibs and we were looking for a break of the range. Obviously today we ended up breaking it to the downside. So what you wanted to see, if we wanted to take a trade short on the fib, would have been a retest of like one of these, like this upper level right here. Like if we got a retest of 69.30 before it just nuked like even lower, like if we hit, let's just say this 50% mark, and let's say we bounce and we got to pop up to this 69.30, that would have been your short to take. We never got a retest of 69.30, so there was nothing you could have taken in shorting the rip mode anyways. So that's kind of the thing we're in. We're in shorting the rips. Even though I did buy this, it's just because of how much we dropped already. We broke through this fib, we broke through this fib, and now we're at the 61.8. Third fib on the day. It's a good, you know, attempt to go long. Just didn't end up playing out, but yeah, usually when we drop to that third fib, that's where you know want to start. That's where you could go against, like if we're in buying the dip mode or shorting the rip mode. That like those are your best opportunities when we drop like 3-4 fibs in a day. And yeah, that's pretty much how we went about the fibs today. There just wasn't any entry to take a short off of the fib. Only entry was that 0 DT cross on puts, and then we ended up taking the one long for the day. So that's how the day went. I'm going to go over a Palantir because this was such a nice setup. This is pretty much more so based on the higher time frames, and I did look at this on the contracts for the 20th. This is not the right chart. Palantir 130 puts. Yeah, this is for next week's expiration. Reason behind that was because the contracts for this week were kind of absolutely like torched. They were super cheap, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna look at the next week's. This is pretty much the monthly contract at this point, but yeah, I ended up entering this at 280, so I grabbed it right here at like 10 o'clock, 10 to 10:15, wherever this was, at 280 was my fill. And look at this move. I ended up selling all of it all the way up, I think right around 6 for 110% was the final TP on it. So I ended up trimming half for like 45%, trimmed more around 75%, and then trimmed the rest at 110. So pretty much the thesis on this was this 4-hour chart looked super bearish. This is what I sent to the Discord, what it looked like at the time. But Palantir was just such a good move. I had super high conviction on this. And let's see here. Yeah, I just said this looks too good not to take. I mean, even though the 30-minute really wasn't crossed, or it was crossed, but the 50 didn't turn yet, I'm like, this is, you know, something that I'm not going to pass up. And if we look here too on the daily, you know, I know the 50 is not curling yet, but again, it just kind of adds to it. It looks very bearish. 4-hour chart was bouncing off of the 50, breaking above the 50, and yeah, this is where I was in at. 280 was the fill, and we got a massive move out of it, as you guys can see on this 4-hour chart. Contracts peaked at 622. Was pretty much, I think I pretty much sold the top. I was all out of this at 1124, so that was pretty much the peak, I want to say, right up in here. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much sold right at this area. That was top of the day. Could go lower if we end up dropping tomorrow on CPI, but yeah, that was the banger trade for the day. I did have like a little bit of drawdown. I think I was down like 15% at one point, maybe 20%. But yeah, I mean, my conviction on this trade was through the roof. Had some good size on this as well. So yeah, that 4-hour chart just looks super clean, and that's pretty much what we did for the day. I mean, there wasn't anything else to take besides that long 0 DT put cross, and then obviously we took Palantir. So yeah, there really wasn't anything else to take besides those. But going into tomorrow, we do have CPI, so it really all depends on how we open up tomorrow. I mean, it's a pretty simple plan. If we end up, you know, opening flat or, you know, slightly green, this will be still crossed here on the 30-minute. Tomorrow is Friday, though, so we will be picking new Friday cons, and the new ones are actually going to be for the 20th. So that would be the monthly contracts that we currently have. So if we pull up those, I know those contracts are going to be at pretty key spots. At least the current ones we have are going to be. I'm not sure, what the different strikes look like, but if we look here again, we're back up into this key spot on the daily. We're popping back up into that daily 50. It's your major area of resistance. This is kind of our third test of it. If it does break, you could definitely expect the market to drop pretty aggressively if we cross, but it'll take a little bit for this chart to cross because these are daily candles, daily chart, so each candle is a day, and obviously the SMAs don't update until the next day, so it would need a lot more time to actually go and cross. It's sloped down a bit, so I don't really as long as if we stay below this 50, then I'm obviously more bullish because it's just such a strong area. Then also, let's see, I don't know what the 4 hour right at the 50 as well. So, it wouldn't surprise me if CPI did pump us a little bit just because we're at such big spots. But yeah, that's kind of the chart you want to be looking at over the next couple days, because if we do open red and we kind of just hang around this area, eventually it may go and cross and really send us to the gutter, because when we get these daily crosses on monthlies, it really moves the market. And it doesn't happen often where we do get a cross on the monthlies, but when it does, it is a pretty aggressive move. I'm not sure, you probably can't see it on the call side because it's probably not there, but yeah, I mean previously a couple months ago, there was an aggressive trend built on the monthly contracts where we were actually crossed obviously on the call side, and we just trended up and up and up for a very long time, and every dip to that 50 pretty much gave a bottom, and now we're kind of going reverse right now. Every pop up into the 50 on calls is marking the top, and then same thing with the put side. Eventually one of them's going to cross. We're just going to have to see and wait to see which one actually does give us a move. So yeah, I mean the game plan tomorrow is up in there. The CPI, if we open still crossing the 30-minute, if we're still above the 50, focus on the downside. If we open green tomorrow and we lose the 50 on the puts, okay, look for some sort of long trade. Maybe we get a fib trade, maybe we get a 0DT cross. Really all depends on how we open tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty much the game plan. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. That's where I'm at all day, every day, and where I share the trades. So yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.